Jozef Puska is charged with murdering 23-year-old Ashling Murphy on January 12th. The talented musician and primary school teacher was fatally attacked while out running on the Grand Canal in Tullamore in County Offaly.
Welcome back to the chilling and ongoing case surrounding Ashling Murphy's tragic demise. In our previous episode, we recounted the heart-wrenching events of January 12th, 2022, when Ashling's life was brutally cut short in the prime of her youth, during what should have been a peaceful stroll along the serene Grand Canal in Tullamore, County Offaly. We also introduced you to Jozef Puska, the prime suspect arrested and charged in connection with her untimely death. Now, in part 2, brace yourselves for the web of deceit spun by the accused in a desperate attempt to evade justice.
He stabbed her 11 times in the neck before leaving her to die in a ditch. The attack was completely random. Puska didn't know Ashling and there was no connection between them. He had followed two separate women a little earlier in the afternoon. Eyewitness Jenna Stack, who was out running, came upon the attack and saw Puska holding Ms. Murphy down as she kicked her legs as hard as she could in an effort to save herself. She raised the alarm and Ms. Murphy's body was found shortly after 3:30.
The courtroom drama unfolded a year and 9 months after that fateful January day, as family and friends gathered at Dublin's Central Criminal Court on October 17, 2023, anxiously awaiting the resolution of this heart-rending case. The suspect took to the stand to describe how he had gone out on his Falcon Storm mountain bike on the day to go find his brother, who also lived in the Tullamore area. Detectives described the questioning which took place with Puska on the 14th of January, as well as the weak attempt of Puska to deny any involvement upon being later questioned on the 18th of January, the day he was released from hospital back. Through an interpreter, the assailant confessed to attacking the girl, stating, "I did it. I murdered. I am the murderer." After this omission, an upset and crying Puska expressed his apologies and claimed that he did not do it intentionally. Puska went on to describe how he had the knife on him, as he used it on the chain of his bike. In the heartbreaking confession, he explained how he did not know the girl, but when she passed, he cut her neck and both Ashling and Puska panicked. He even pointed at the 3 puncture wounds in his stomach and stated to the detective that he was responsible for them. Yet, in a dramatic turn, the narrative took an abrupt U-turn. Detectives revealed a startling twist following Puska's hospital discharge and subsequent arrest. A mere 4 days after his confession, Puska alarmingly claimed that he had no recollection of admitting to the attack. Puska also failed to explain how his DNA was present under the 23-year-old teacher's fingernails. To add to that, he failed to explain how his bike was present at the crime scene. As the prosecution meticulously pieced together a compelling case, the CCTV footage, forensic DNA evidence, and eyewitness accounts validated the narrative against Puska. In a desperate bid to extricate himself from the damning evidence piling against him, Puska wove a narrative unheard until that moment. His tale painted a picture starkly divergent from the stark reality laid bare in the courtroom. He claimed that he was attacked and stabbed by a man wearing a face mask on January 12th. He then described how a woman came to the scene, and Puska saw this same man attack Ashling. At this point, Puska claims that he tried to help Ashling before leaving the area and lying in a nearby ditch as he felt unwell. But Puska's web of lies didn't end there. When it got dark, he claimed that he walked to Tullamore to a friend's house to get a lift home. The next day, he was driven to his parents' apartment in Dublin. From there, they rang for an ambulance to come to the house, which was accompanied by police. He was then taken to St. James's Hospital. In a further attempt to camouflage his evil path, Puska stated to the medical professionals that he had been attacked in Dublin the evening before. However, the healthcare workers found this all a bit too suspicious, and at this point, contacted the police. The court appeared unconvinced and saw through the layers of fabrication. The prosecution pleaded with the jury to see through his concocted lies, which were evidently fabricated, and demonstrated that he was clearly guilty. Judge Mr. Justice Tony Hunt presented the weighty decision to the jury. Was Jozef Puska a misunderstood Samaritan or a guilty perpetrator? Despite entering a plea of not guilty, the stage was set for the jury's critical verdict. November 9th, 2023, was the climactic day when the jury, comprising 9 men and 3 women, delivered a unanimous judgment. Jozef Puska was found guilty of the horrific death of Ashling Murphy. The court sentenced Puska to a life term, the severity of his crime reflected in this grave punishment. However, under Irish law, life sentences lack specified minimum terms, leaving the possibility of Puska seeking parole in the future.
guilty of murder after 13 days of evidence and more than 60 witnesses. His story of another unidentified man attacking both him and Ashling before escaping, not believed by the jury.
As the verdict was read out, he sat in silence, putting his hands over his face. Judge Mr. Justice Tony Hunt did not hold back in his statements after. He told the jury, "We have evil in this room. There is no doubt about that. There will be a day of reckoning for Puska."
The legal saga didn't conclude with Puska's sentence. His wife, 2 brothers, and their wives faced court appearances for suspected obstruction of justice, charged with withholding crucial information pertinent to the case. Their trials await a hearing date to determine their fate.
She was murdered while jogging along the Grand Canal in Tullamore, County Offaly, in January last year, stabbed 11 times in the neck. Today, 33-year-old Jozef Puska was found guilty of murder after 13 days of evidence and more than 60 witnesses.
Despite the appearance of justice, the investigation failed to uncover a discernible motive behind the heinous act. Heart-wrenching statements from Ashling's family and her long-term boyfriend reverberated through the courtroom, painting a poignant picture of loss and shattered dreams. Her boyfriend described to Puska, "Because of you, I've lost everything I've ever wanted in life. Because of you, I'll never get to marry my soulmate." His words, a resounding indication of the cold-hearted assailant.
And she was the epitome of a perfect role model for every little girl to look up to and strive to be. She was not only an integral part of our family, but she was also a huge shining light in our community, a community in which, year in, year out, she gave back to as best she could.
Ashling's mother recalls begging her not to go to the canal, that it made her feel ill at ease thinking of her daughter jogging there. To which Ashling responded, "Ah, Mum, I am 23 years old," before giving her mother a big hug.
She told the court she couldn't protect their dream daughter from an evil monster, and now she was gone forever. Amy Murphy, in her victim impact evidence, said her little sister grew to become the soil that kept their family and friends nourished with positivity, humour and hope.
Ashling, a national school teacher, was out for a walk after work when she was attacked and murdered by Mr. Puska. This monstrous crime shocked the nation.
Now, as the chapter closes on this tragic tale, the grieving family and friends of Ashling Murphy are left to grapple with the aftermath, striving to continue on despite the irreplaceable void left by their beloved daughter, sister, and friend. If you enjoyed this video, then please show your support for this channel by subscribing to the channel or leaving a comment with your thoughts on this video.